Okay, so Nelson is upon us. Nelson is a storm that is raging through the west of France right now and most probably some other part of Europe. We are having changes of light like crazy heavy winds, sometimes heavy rain and very dark skies. So I have no idea how this recording is going to be going, and you may hear my house complaining. So hello everyone, welcome or welcome back to my very small place on the internet where I talk about my knitting and my knitting life and my knitting adventures. My name is Isabelle, I am in France, in Normandy, currently under a clear sky in between raging storm episodes. And today it's gonna be a regular episode about my knitting adventures where I'm gonna be showing you what I have finished. I have one finished object and what I am working on. And I may have to record this episode in separate sessions because I have less than an hour now before I go for another appointment with my physical therapist. So we'll see how this goes under this strange weather. Okay, let's get rolling. What am I wearing? I am wearing my Barbara sweater by Marian Isayer. One of you offered me the book where this pattern is from. This is going to be a heavy Normandy wool episode today. So I knit that sweater with the sports weight from Lenal West, and if you recall or if you've seen the previous episode, you know that I've been there and I have a project with them that I'm going to be talking about. So the sports weight in their natural fleur de sel, which is the grayish brown color, where they mix dark and light fleeces, and the natural color, which is just écru. That's the name. I'm currently wearing my little bandana that I made as a swatch with the cashmere yarn from Atelier Pure Laine, which is also in Normandy. So I haven't been much onto this project now to find a sweater matching my gauge for this beautiful cashmere light fingering yarn. And several of you have said that they would be interested into my process finding the pattern and the gauge, because my gauge doesn't match light fingering weights. So I'll be going through that process. And I've removed my scarf. This is the Olympe scarf. Olympe is by Camille Delahaye. And I've removed it because right now the sun is shining and behind the windows, the bay windows, it's very warm. And I pair my scarf usually with my Barbara sweater. And one thing that I have posted on Instagram is that after I've been wearing the scarf, you would say, I think they look like octopus feet, and once you've seen that, you cannot unsee it. So I hope I'm not gonna be disturbing you with that thought and that vision. I made the Olympe scarf with the cashmere yarn held double, and I have over 1,100 bubbles, 1,184 bubbles. If I recall, I haven't checked, and I'll write it down if it's not the correct number. I love it. It's so warm, it's so soft, it's quite heavy, it's quite long, so I should have maybe knit it a bit less long. But anyway, it's very cozy. And yesterday I was under heavy rain under my coat, and I had forgotten my hat. I have lost one of my hats. So I just place it over my head, under my hood of my coat hood, and I was all warm inside and dry because my coat is made for rain or to repel rain and be in heavy rain. So yes, a very, very useful, long, heavy, warm and soft scarf. I hope it's not gonna be raining when I'm gonna go to my physical therapist. The office is in my village, so I'm walking there. I do hope the wind is gonna stay and the sun I don't mind, and I'm not gonna be all under heavy rain again. My first finished object is one of my trendy little scarves that I made with some of the remaining. I still have a bit left. I haven't weighed it out, and I will write it in my Ravelry project page, and I will write it on the screen down below how much yarn I have left and how much I used for making the scarf. My little trendy little scarf I made because it's a free pattern on Ravelry, and I made because I think all of these pet for patterns that are so simple and so easy are a bit expensive. So, and I do not like garter stitch, so or too much on these kind of project. So this is 1x1 rib with one pointy end, and then you can match the other pointy end on the same side or not. 1x1 rib. In my original sample, I have a little motif, stitch motif, that is from the Japanese stitch dictionary that I like a lot with wrap stitches. This little scarf matches perfectly my vest, my Lorenzen vest, and this is the Lorenzen sweater where I removed the sleeves. So this is absolutely not going to be matching with my Barbara sweater, but you will see how I wear it. So either I wear it like this on the side with one knot or several knots. And some of them are lighter than that, and I make a bow. And if I want to make a bow, I haven't tried making a bow with this one. I think I should not wrap it twice around my neck, and you can make a bow. I've seen several news reports, fashion reports, where bows were going to be the big thing this summer. I'm not sure I'm much into bow, but with my vest, this little scarf is just perfect. Imagine with my vest, I will wear it one day with the vest, with a white, crisp white shirt, my vest in cocon bleu, and the little scarf, just perfect. Okay, so I have my little bandana cowl in cashmere to better fit my Barbara sweater. So my first work in progress is the sock. My sons have asked for socks. The ladies over at Atelier Paulin have recommended me some yawool yarn. I chose a self-grading color for the body and the foot of the sock. I'm not sure how you say that, the leg and the foot of the sock. And I matched it with contrasting colors for heel, toes, and cuff. So it's cuff down. And I want to thank them for the recommendation for the yarn. And I want to thank you for recommending me one pattern that helped me turn the heel in the heel flap and gusset method. So top-down sock, and I'm using 2 free patterns and others that I'm reading through that I have already, but not just to be sure what is going on. So the first one is from Tanis Lavadi. I think it's all reliable top-down socks. So this is a free pattern on Ravelry with the heel flap and gusset. And the second one of you recommended me this pattern, is a Summerly Design Co pattern school of socks, and it's also a top-down sock pattern with heel flap and gusset. So I have turned the heel. I was very, very careful when I was knitting because I really wasn't sure where I was going. But with the pictures, it was much better. And now I have to knit on the foot and then make the top. So I have finished the gusset. I'm just knitting straight now, and I made a stockinette, and I will keep on knitting stockinette under the foot and on the gusset. And the front part of the sock and the back part of the sock is in 2x1 rib to make it more stretchy and snug on the foot. So all of this is going very well, and I really enjoyed the construction. And as one of you said, I think Lisa said that. Lisa from Thoughtful Spinning. I will write her channel down below because now you are Lisa in my head. It's a real piece of engineering. That turning the heel and making the heel is a real piece of engineering. And I used a slip stitch method to make the heel flap, to make it a bit sturdier, and I may continue to do that. For the tip of the sock, I'm not sure. Maybe it's not comfortable. One thing I forgot to do, I wanted to make the inside of the foot in the stockinette and the outside of the foot in reverse stockinette, because some people say they don't like the little reverse stockinette bump on when they feel the sock under their foot. I forgot. I completely forgot. And one of the things I'm going to be doing at some point, and if my no-buy year is successful, this may be my price to myself. It's going to be to buy shorter needles to knit socks, and maybe shorter DPNs to knit socks. These ones are very long, and it's 2.5 millimeter needles. These are the smallest one I was having, and maybe I need some 2.25 millimeter needles. Anyway, all of this is going very well. I'm very happy with what I am doing. I thank all of you who've encouraged me and gave me tips. Maybe this is the best way for you to see it. Gave me tips, a very simple sock. And I have more confidence now to be finishing it and knitting the second one and the other ones for my two other sons. I may change the ribbing, I may not, and do exactly the same. I don't know. I don't have that many holes on the side of the pickup. Maybe just one here that I will be able to close quite easily. Another one here, because I've seen people have been in trouble. I was careful. I read several posts, and I did not watch videos, and I'm not sure I recall where I did find the tips for that. I haven't done anything different from what I'm usually doing. So it just all went well, and yes, I guess that makes me a sock knitter now. Okay, next, my bigger project. So this is a project with Lena West. I will link the video I made just before this one about the project they had, and I answered their project. They want people knit garments or socks or other things with their own yarn. So for now they are focusing on fingering yarn, and they want samples and pictures to show to the people who come to their shop or their web shop and have ideas of things that have been knit with their own yarn, so that they can advertise it. So what they were doing, they were offering the yarn. They had a selection of drops patterns to select from, and they chose drops because drops allows to redistribute their pattern if You say where it's from, and if you don't modify it, of course, they won't modify it. So they had a selection of patterns. I applied, maybe there was a large number of people answering, and they selected about 30 people. I went there a couple weekends ago to pick up the yarn and choose the yarn with them and choose the pattern. I had already emailed them with what I was thinking, and so that they can have a look before I went there. And we decided all together. We decided on Oatfield by Drops. And I had two colors in mind. And we decided on this Parme colorway. And Parme in French means it's a small lilac, light lilac, like violet. And this yarn in the skin and in the shop and in person looks gray to me. So I was thinking, okay, they have a little violet accents here and there. Okay. So Oatfield has a saddle shoulder construction, and I was interested into the pattern because of that. The saddle shoulder construction, and I'm not sure you can see it here, with a little stitch motif on the front and the back, and not on the sleeve. The sleeves are just plain stockinette. So I swatched, and I kept the swatch so that, I'm not lying to you, because I rarely swatch and do what I say and do not do as I do, of course. So I swatched, and I used the 5mm needles that is recommended into the pattern with their fingering yarn held double, and 4.5mm needles. I decided on the 4.5mm needles, and I got gauge. The gauge is 17 stitches, if I recall correctly. Yes, 17 stitches for 10 centimeters or 4 inches, and 22 rows. And I did not get row gauge, and I have 26 rows per 10 centimeters. I'm not too worried about row gauge. I can add a row or knit a little less, that will be fine. What I find extremely interesting is that gray looking skin, I don't know if you see it gray, but I do see it gray, looks lilac, knitted up on a larger surface, I guess. So it's extremely interesting. I thought they were slightly dyeing on their natural color yarn, on their gray yarn. This is what I said to you the other time and last week. And I thought this is what we had been talking about. But looking at it once I have knitted with it, I'm kind of thinking it's their natural creamy white color that has been dyed with this very light lilac, light violet dye. Okay, so that's one thing. It doesn't really matter because I really love it, and I'm quite happy I got gauge with the yarn held double, because I was kind of wondering will I get gauge, because Oatfield calls for the Drops Group C yarn, which is Erin, I think. So getting gauge with fingering held double, I was not quite sure, but I did. And I'm quite happy with this color and the way the stitches look. So this is the 4.5 is at the top here, and not too airy. And I think it's gonna bloom once I wash it. So perfect. What I have to say about this pattern, I thought it was going to be a piece of cake and an easy pattern the way it looks. Not quite. At the same time, you have to take care of several things, and this is what makes it a bit difficult. You have to take care of short rows, you have to take care of the saddle shoulders increase, and you have to take care of the stitch motif. So I will tell them. I have prepared a little note with what I've been doing so far to send them, saying that it's not a pattern for beginners, in my own humble opinion. Okay, so here is what I have done so far. You can see the little stitch motif, and you can see even better here that it is really lilac, a small lilac color. The little stitch motif, the beautiful saddle shoulders. So first you increase for the body, for the saddle shoulder on either side of the shoulder. Then you increase for the sleeve. Let me see where I can show it better to you. There. So now these are sleeves increase. And at the same time, you make short rows in the back to raise the back. I'm quite sorry, I don't have on my larger needles, but anyway, you have short rows in the back, and then you start the little motif. They say not to place the motif too close to the increases, to the saddle shoulder or the sleeve increases. And I made one mistake, the same mistake in the front and in the back. So you can see here you have 3 little motifs, and at the row below I have one here on this side, and I missed one here on this side, both in front and in the back. I'll see if I'm too bothered with that. I'll either add one, that I'll make one here, I'll make one something looking like it, I'll try to make one here, or maybe I'll try to make one that is going to be more obvious, because this is a mistake, so why not make it obvious with a contrasting yarn. Anyway, we'll see. These little motifs do not remind me of oat at all. They remind me of maybe little insects or hummingbirds or something like that, but they do not remind me of oats or Oatfield. Maybe it looks like the top of the oat in the wind. So here you have the front, and here you have the back, with the same little motifs. So if I'm saying is that is not for beginners, a pattern for beginners, because you have to trace what you are doing for the sleeves increases and then the body increases, and for the motifs after you've done the short rows. So you just have these 2 ones to take care of. I am making my way through that without mistakes. I haven't made any mistakes so far, except the one where I forgot one little stitch motif, by using stitch markers about everywhere and different ones for the motif and for the sleeves and the beginning of the row. This is the way I'm doing. I have tried it on, it's perfect on my shoulders for now. I'll see how it goes once I have made all the shoulder increases. And if I'm where I should be, I was a little short to start the shoulder increases, the sleeves increases, excuse me. I said shoulder, it's the sleeves increases. I was a little short in length. So I'll see how it goes, and I may have to add a little more length so that it just falls right where it needs to be falling under my arm, and I will continue on the body. The sleeves are plain stockinette, and you see, if you look at it from a distance, it doesn't look gray to me now. It does look purple, very light purple, very light lilac, and I guess this yarn is, you may even see it better that way. This yarn has the proper name as being Palm, which is a little lilac, because when I bought it and when I unpacked it at home, and when I started to think of it and saying, okay, I'm going to be swatching and stuff, I was thinking this yarn is great. Okay, that's very, very, very funny. And I'm gonna be liking it a lot. I'm gonna be reporting to them where I am so far and my thought and what I have done so far. And you see, it's very strange because when I look at it, it's gray on a smaller surface. If you look at it that way, maybe on a smaller surface, looks gray, and if you look at it on the larger picture, looks purple, light lilac. Very funny. Anyway, this free pattern is fun to knit. I enjoy knitting it. I'm enjoying it. You need to be focused. You can't just say, okay, I'm gonna go and knit and knit and knit and knit. You need to be focused with all the what is going on with the increases and the motif. Once I have separated for the sleeves, there will be only the motif to be taken care of, so that will be okay. The stitch motif is easy. You work 2 rows out of 12. The rest of the rows are just plain stockinette, so it is not very difficult. You just need to know at any time where you are. So I write everything the way I'm used to be doing. So what I haven't said is I think I'm knitting the XL size, so it's the 4th size out of 6. And they say, do they say the measurements for their sizes? No, they do not have measurements, but they have schematics and with measurements. Where is it? Or did I draw it myself? No, they have schematics for each of their measurements, and the widest part is 61 centimeters. So that's, I hope it's 61 centimeters. So that's going to be 122 centimeters circumference, which is a lot of positive ease, but I think I wanted something a bit more relaxed, even though the pattern pictures doesn't look very, it looks more fitted. I chose the XL size just to see. Okay, so that's my Oatfield. Okay, less than 15 minutes. I need to be out of the house by less than 15 minutes. I'm still going to take a bit of time to talk to you about who I am knitting with. Several of you have said that they were enjoying very much my music recommendations, my series recommendations, and as I do not have much time, I'm just going to be talking about which series was I watching when I unraveled my Lorenson sweater to turn it into a vest, and where I ended up unraveling part of the back and having to knit again most of the body of the sweater. And I'm showing this to you because I don't have it with me right now. So what was I watching? I was watching a series on Apple TV. I just have joined the Apple Plus, whatever their bundle is, because I was having several subscriptions for a long time. When my kids were teenagers, I got an iTunes family iTunes for the family subscription, so that they could listen to music on a legal streaming platform. So I had this subscription for a long time. I added a little bit of time later on, some space on iCloud, because I was running out of space, because the basic one is not a lot. And that's the way it was for a very long time. A couple years ago, I added an Apple Fitness Plus subscription, And the three of them combined was still less than the bundle they had at the time. So I had been moved to the Apple Music family, whatever bundle for the same price. So they had grandfathered me or grandmothered me into the subscription. And I was running out of space once again. So I was paying maybe €1.90 or 99 cents for 200 gigabytes, and I was running out of space. Most of the space was taken by pictures. I have 35,000 plus pictures, and it was just a pain for me to go through all the pictures and delete and make space. And at some point I was I was going to be not able to have space any longer. I use also iCloud to save a lot of files and share files with my sons and everything. So, and I still had the Apple Music, even though now they are grown-ups and they can pay for their own subscription. They all asked. I continue to pay for the Apple Music family subscription, and so they can pay for other things for themselves. So I decided I was going to be moving to a better cloud storage space. And I was watching her, and the Apple One, I guess it's Apple One or Apple One Plus, was still going to be €10 more than all of these combined, because I had a yearly subscription to Apple Fitness and the other ones were monthly. And at some point I said, okay, I can't take the time to go through my pictures and weed out all the ones I don't need. So I said, okay, I'm gonna go and get the Apple One, whatever, better subscription with 2 terabytes for iCloud. Okay. What finally convinced me, it was not Apple TV. It was I would be having Apple News and all of these magazines I used to be reading when I was in the United States 30 years ago. When I finally decided and said, okay, I'm paying for it, something happened and said, okay, you're in France, so you're in Europe. You can't buy Apple News, so this Apple News subscriptions due to copyrights or stuff like that, and it was about the same price than I was paying, maybe 90 cents more than I was already paying with a 2 terabyte iCloud space. So I said, okay, so for that, for less than €1, an additional euro per month, I get the iCloud space and I get Apple TV. Good. I was watching a lot of series and movies on Apple Prime, and I am quite unhappy that Apple Prime is going to be having us pay more than the Apple Prime subscription to watch movies online and series online. I'm unhappy. I'm not saying that they should not be doing it. I'm unhappy with that. So I said, okay, I'm going to move and switch from Apple Prime to Apple TV. Even though I hadn't looked at all about what Apple TV was offering. So I said, okay, I'm going to be missing out, but so be it. I can't stand commercials and ads and stuff like that. So when I first had a look at what Apple TV was offering, I first went to see sci-fi series. I will be talking about them maybe in the next video. Some of them I liked, some of them are so-so. I will tell you about it. But the one series that really hooked me, and I enjoyed it the whole 3 seasons that are available to me, is Slow Horses. So Slow Horses is a series that is made by Mike Herron. And what I love is that we are following a group of second zone spies from MI5 who are in offices that are really dirty, yellow lights, and they don't have much equipment. They just have their brains to be using and solve some spy mysteries, let's put it that way. So Gary Oldman is Jackson Lamb, who is the head of this group of second zone MI5 spies. And Christine Scott Thomas is the head of MI5. And when we are in MI5 offices, the light is bright, blue, everything is high tech. They have lots of money, I guess, and lots of facilities and people to solve the mysteries. And of course, the ones from Slow House, led by Gary Oldman, are the ones who are solving the things. And what I like is that, one, it's very slow, maybe sometimes with spikes in the stories and fights and guns and stuff like that. But the rhythm is rather slow. And also what I like is that they have the courage to have people die, the ones from the Slow House, where you get attached to them, you like them, you are feeling some empathy, and you like what they are doing. And some of them die along the way during the second and the third series. So that's the first thing that I like, because you don't find that very often in series. The second thing that I like, so the first season is a regular, let's say, spy and mystery solving, and they have to find people and stuff like that. The second and the third season, what I love is that some of the stories that are happening right now have echoes or are echoes from the past and from the Cold War spy situation. And Gary Oldman is an old wolf and an old fox and very smart and knows a lot of things that were happening in the past. And that helps him move with his team within that stories and solve it each time at the end of the season. So one season is 8 episodes or maybe 10 episodes, and the story is finished at the end of the season. And I like these Cold Wars stories. I'm listening to podcasts in French that are on like interviews of an older spy. Of course, there are actors, and the series is written, the audio podcast is written, but it's on the form of an interview between a journalist and an older spy who knows about everything that happened at the time. And I like that. I'm not sure why. I like these stories, and Slow Horses is really at the second and the third season about old stories from people who are living right now and hold grudges or help each other right now based on what happened in the past and during the Cold War. And I think it's very interesting that the fact that some people you get attached to end up dying. It's a very particular series. I was hooked, and this is how I unraveled half of the back of my Lorenzen sweater. Okay, so I need to go. 29, I have 1 minute before I need to go see my physical therapist. We are at the end of Thursday. The video needs to be edited and posted for tomorrow. We'll see how it goes. In the meantime, I hope your knitting is bringing you joy and happiness as much as my knitting and reading your comments and interacting with you in the comment section does bring me joy and happiness. I think the sun is still gonna be there for me to go see my physical therapist, so fingers crossed I'm not gonna have to be under heavy rain. And I thank you very much for being here with me. I'm waiting for your comments, for your liking and subscribing to these videos. And I'm sorry, I'm a bit on a rush today. And I will see you next time. I should have most probably knitted a bit all real